This is El Dorado Beach. Well, it used to be El Dorado Beach, and now it's all lake. The beach is all gone. And I guess it's just as well because they're working on the part of the beach anyway that most people, they back on and, you know, kind of chill out and suntan. Anyway, this is South Lake Tahoe. Today is September the 13th, and we got through September the 11th, 10th year anniversary. Takes me all the way back to 1960s, when there was a much more simpler world. I was living in Bridgeton, New Jersey part of the time, also in Boston for 2.5 years, and lived in Connecticut, Bridgeport, Connecticut, part of the 60s, and also lived in LA some of the time. I used to be a traveler. They used to call me the gypsy man, and I would never stay any place for longer than maybe a year or two, 3 at the most. I was trying to find a better place, a better world, and I never did find it, but this is one of the better places that I did find. And at the age of 70, going on 71, it's still a pretty nice place, and it's beautiful. And I just, you know, I like it here pretty much. Even Tahoe has changed, but because the world has changed, and we're all one of a part of a whole. Anyway, the 60s, we didn't have technology, we didn't have computers. We did have Polaroid cameras, that's about it. That's what all I had, and I guess other people had some, you know, stuff that was a little bit better than what I had, but I have now. But it was a simple world, especially for black people. You know, we got these manual labor jobs, we worked hard, and we played hard. We get off and we went to the clubs, partied, danced. Interestingly, during the worst period of times in the 60s, we all dressed. I mean, we dressed to impress. I mean, that was just American culture back in the day. And, you know, black people, we went to look good for the ladies, you know. I mean, that was the big thing. You went out and looked good for the ladies, and the ladies looked good for the guys. It was, you know, all good. We didn't have AIDS. We didn't have crack cocaine. And in the early part of the 60s, there was not, at least in Detroit, where I was raised at in the 50s, and Michigan in the 40s. But heroin wasn't too powerful either, except for in certain areas. It's a simple world. You know, you drink your wine, you drink your beer. Ladies used to like to drink gin. Gin was the thing ladies drank, and that was what they used to love to drink in the hood. Rather smoke a little weed every once in a while. And the real slick ones did cocaine, but it wasn't no epidemic at that time. You know, it was simple times. You know, like I worked in different jobs. I used to have a lot of different jobs. I worked in canning houses. My first real job was working for Hunt's Ketchup. Then I worked for Seabrook Farms, where we made bird's eye frozen foods, snow crop, you know, all those different types of foods. I used to palletize. We worked 10, 12 hours a day, 6 and 7 days a week in the summertime, and in the winter we just got unemployment, hanged out in the pool rooms, hanged out with our buddies, drank some wine, you know, talk a little game. And it was a simple world, you know, like it was mostly all black. It was a black world. It was different, you know, and I didn't know anything about the white world at all. I never even thought about it. It wasn't one of those kind of things. I was not an integrator, you know. I wasn't one of those kind of people who wanted to integrate. I thought that life was good, and it was. Until like things started changing after integration. Really, I don't know what integration did to the world, but I think what happened was our best and our brightest left the hood and went into suburbia. And when that happened, what happened was now we don't have any good role models in the inner city no more, because all we have now is pimps and players and hustlers and, whatever, dope themes and stuff like that. And those who could was getting away. So there wasn't too many good influences in black neighborhoods anymore, because they had all been co-opted into what you would call a better world. So for some would call, nicer places to live. Anyway, I came to Tahoe by accident. Me and my wife, we went to left Detroit in 1980, and first we moved to Ann Arbor, and I got a job, but she couldn't get anything. So then we decided to move to Houston, and we got to Houston. The boom was almost over with, and it was. I liked Houston, and we moved in the I think it was the west side of Houston, out there near Gessner and Bel Air, if anybody knows what that is. Anyway, it was really too hot for me and my wife, and I was talking to this lady one day, and she said, "Why don't you go to Tahoe?" Well, at that time I was a cook. I had been cooking for like 8 or 10 years, and so anyway, we came up to Tahoe, and when we first came down Highway 50, it was all motels, almost all the way from the Y down to the casinos, and it was like a kickback kind of a city at that time, a little small town basically, and it was really easy living, and the world hadn't gone crazy yet. In fact, when I first came to Tahoe, nobody even knew anything about AIDS, and so that was, and crack cocaine hadn't really got started in the inner city yet. So anyway, it was good time to be living. Last 10 years though have been, pretty much the world seems like it's just going crazy, upside down, inside out, and nobody knows what next year is going to bring, and nobody even really wants to think about it, because there's so many things happening. Most people just trying to keep a low profile and keep their head down and stay out of trouble. But anyway, in the 60s, we didn't have too many things to worry about, because basically all you had to do was worry about trying to make a living, and most of us weren't trying to buy a house, so we didn't worry about a house being more than it was worth. And it was just a simple life. However, I like technology. I really do. I like the things that technology, does. But on the other side of that, technology has brought a lot of problems. I mean, you can get a virus just by going online. You don't have to be contact with people no more. Who ever heard a person getting a virus from like a CD or, LP or cassette tape? But now you can get a virus just by, on the internet. And a lot of hatred there's a lot of hatred out there today. People hate, of course, hatred is not not a new thing, but now it's manifested in different ways that it's unusual. People can put your name out on the internet, man, and talk about you like a dog, especially for young people. It's really hard on young people today. It's so many things that they can get into to get in trouble, speed, crack, AIDS, all these things, and there's not too much friendship out there. People don't have that kind of friendship that they used to have back in the day. But anyway, when it's all over with, I look at the sky, look at the lake, and say, it's been a wonderful life. And anyway, as you know me, I say everything in the key of G. That being me. G with a double C.